Dr. Faustus, and my global aim is to trace the three main lines: theology, philosophy, and of course music in this novel. It's the Mann's one of the last novels, and it was created in 1947. In 1933, the writer and his family emigrated from Nazi Germany and settled at first in Zurich. In the same year, the first volume of his novel tetralogy, Joseph and His Brothers, is published, where Mann interprets the story of the biblical Joseph in his own way. The work consists of several separate novels: The Past of Jacob, Young Joseph, Joseph in Egypt, and Joseph the Provider. In 1936, after unsuccessful attempts to persuade the writer to return to Germany, the Nazi authorities deprived Mann and his family of German citizenship, and he became a citizen of Czechoslovakia at first, and in 1938 left for the United States, where he earned a living teaching at Princeton University. In 1939, the novel Lot in Weimar was published, describing the relationship between the aged God and his youthful love. Charlotte Kestner, who became the prototype of the heroine of The Sorrows of Young Werther. In his article Germany and Germans, Mann says there are no two Germanys, good and evil. There is only one Germany whose best qualities, under the influence of diabolic cunning, have become the personification of evil. An evil Germany is a good one that has gone wrong, got into trouble, is mired in crime, and is now facing disaster. That is why it's impossible for a person born German to completely renounce the evil Germany, burdened with historical guilt, and declare, "I am good, noble Germany. Look, I'm wearing a snow-white dress, and I give you the evil one to be torn to pieces." So, in 1947, his novel Dr. Faustus was published, the main character of which largely follows the path of Faust, despite the fact that the novel takes place in the 20th century. Adrian Leverkühn, a brilliant but mentally ill composer, as an image of the biases of the Western bourgeois intelligentsia. He is not just a brilliant composer, but also a thinker. The genius here is the property of this individual and this person. The theme of Faust is an ancient folklore legendary character. It's known since the Middle Ages. The first literary treatment or mention appeared in Germany. The image of Faust quickly turned into legend and became widely known in Europe. The first literary edition of the legend was published in 1587 in Germany in an edition by Johann Spies. Buch Historie von Dr. Johann Faust, dem weitbeschreitenden Zauberer und Schwarzkünstler. This was in German, auf Deutsch. So, the story of Dr. Faust, the famous wizard and warlock. And here you can already see the connotation with the title of Mann's book. This book of Spies later became known as the Volksbuch or popular book, people book. In 1603, Pierre Caillet published a French translation of the Volksbuch. In addition, there is a 1599 edition of Whitman, which was a source for Goethe. Faust goes to Wittenberg to his uncle to study theology at the university. It is from Volksbuch. So, he has a quarrelsome and arrogant mind. So he departs from the divine scripture and turns to astrology, mathematics and palmistry. The numbers. Numbers are fascinating for Leverkusen also. The meeting is legendary. Faust with the devil in the Spessart's forest, where Faust draws a magic circle, and in Leverkusen student room a magic square hangs above the piano. In the publication of Spies from 11 to 16 chapters, there is a debate about hell. What is hell? Mephistopheles replies, there is nothing but fog, fire, sulfur, resin, and so on. Hell has no end and age. Even the demon don't know what it looks like. The cult emanating from Mephistopheles also echoes the plot of the novel by Thomas Mann. The hourglass is an important subject both for the history of Thomas Mann and for the history of Spies, or legendary Faust. In the last chapters, the story of Faust is told in the evening. He calls the students together with the confession, and he says to go to bed and sleep in peace, in opposite to Gospel from Matthew, awake. I'm dying as a bad man and as a good Christian, as a good man, for I have repented, and in my heart I ask for forgiveness, like a bad Christian, for I know that the devil wants to take my body. If only he would leave my soul alone. At midnight, a terrible noise is heard, and the very naturalistic and fanatical, and the brain is stuck to the wall, and so on and so forth. So, Adrian Leverkusen is a collective image that reveals the features of several historical figures at once. This is first and foremost German philosopher of the turn of 20th century, Friedrich Nietzsche, whose name is in the text of the novel deliberately never called. Then the founder of the Reformation in Germany, Martin Luther, and Danish philosopher of the 19th century, the founder of the school of existentialism, Søren Kierkegaard, the German composer Richard Wagner, maybe, and other names are also very important. For example, composers like Schoenberg, Stravinsky, and musical philosopher Theodor Adorno.